let's get into the what dishonest Darth and see who we can come up with. All right, so we're starting off big, and we are going with Collingwood. Gus, Collingwood Football Club. A bit of a poor year last year. Do you think that they can improve on their 2021?
I don't think they're going to be any better. They're a really young side. Like, they've sort of transitioned again. They've again had a bit of an interrupted. Well, some of their stars have had an interrupted preseason. We've seen Taylor Adams be in and out. I think Braden Maynard's now going to miss 2 weeks as well, the first 2 weeks of the season, for his whack on Daniel Lloyd. Like, they're just super young. They've taken a lot of players in the last few drafts. Dacos looks like a superstar at pick 2 that they took. They'll be looking for guys like Finlay McRae and those players they took in a sort of middle part of last year's draft to hopefully come on. But yeah, they're going to struggle because they've got a big gap in their list in the age that you will need to compete. They've got a lot of young guys and a lot of old players. And then really it's pretty much, they still have some good players in that middle tier, and Darcy Moore and in that middle age bracket in Moore and DeGoey and Grundy. But whether that's going to be enough for them to be better than a bottom 6 side probably, I think is probably pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I think they sit in that bottom 6 group, and you're right about the inexperience. Like, we touched on this last year when we were talking about the Pies a few times. They have loaded up on the draft. You can't say that they, skipped draft picks or avoided taking picks. They just haven't had very high picks, and the ones that they have had that are really high, Freeman and Scharenberg are good examples of that. They haven't worked out. So whilst there's a lot of youth that they've brought in the last probably 2-3 years, most of it are rookie picks and picks, after the second round, which is really, it's speculative after the second round. You're unlikely to get a really good player. It obviously happens, quite a bit, but it's a fortunate thing when it happens.
It's a shot in the dark. Like, you're just throwing darts at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So I think their inexperience combined with the probably lack of elite talent. Obviously, Dacos is very much that, and he's almost like the first guy that's starting the new iteration of the team. They still have a lot of cream, as you've touched on. Their very best players are very good. Pat Lipinski looks like he'll be a good pickup. Unfortunately, injured in the community series on the weekend, but from all reports was basically one of their leading on ballers during the preseason scratchies and stuff like that. So I think that we can see a year of steady improvement. Like, I think they'll win some games that they aren't expected to win, and they're more free-flowing style they're going to play under Craig McRae, the new coach. I think that's been well established that they're going to get away from that kind of sturgid keepings off style they played under Bucks for so long. So that'll be exciting to see. It'll be good for the fans. They might have a few blowouts as a result, but I'm really looking to see who can emerge. Who is the player on that list that we don't rate now that can really stand up, and at the end of the season we're like, okay, they're going to be a better team because a guy like Darcy Cameron or Oliver Henry or Trent Bianco is actually potentially an A-grader.
Yeah, I think I would push back a little bit. I mean, they did take a few first-rounders last year. They were later firsts, but Ollie Henry was a first, McRae was a first. Like, these are players that had pretty reasonable pedigrees coming in. So I think there is, like, it's nowhere near completed, but I think it is a little bit further along than that. But look, they're just not going to be that great. They're going to be. I think they'll avoid the bottom 4, but I think they'll be in the next tier, and I don't think finals is on the cards.
Yeah, and they're sort of relying a fair bit on, like, obviously Myercheck's a very good contributor, but if Jamie Elliott or Jordan DeGoey aren't there kicking, 30 to 40 goals each this season, they're going to really struggle, I think, to hit the scoreboard. I've probably got them around that same mark, maybe bottom 4, but yeah, could easily see them jumping out of the bottom 4, but no further than bottom 6. All right, let's go back into